So welcome to our monthly virtual group. Tonight's topic, we're going to talk about honoring your loss and how you might be able to do that. Sometimes privately within your own home, or just between you and your loss and your babies, or maybe more in a bigger way with people and involving people and allowing them to be a part of that with you. So I'm just going to kind of go through some ideas, and then we can kind of talk through them, see if you guys have additional ideas or personally what you've done and how that's impacted you and your family. So the first thing that kind of helped me, and all of these ideas, it took a long time. It was probably 5 years after my losses that I finally kind of was like, yeah, just pretending it didn't happen isn't making it any better. And it's actually kind of making it worse. I felt like if I could include them in a way in my life and keep them alive and keep them, their name being spoken and all of that, that was actually the best healing and the best way for me to continue living. So the first thing that kind of was important to me was just thinking about what dates were important. And some of these dates I had to go back and look at. I knew the due date that I was supposed to have with my daughter, Audrey, and we didn't make it to that due date, but that's still a date that's a really important day to me. So you might want to think about maybe your due date. Could be the birthday, which might not necessarily be the day that maybe they passed. So maybe you, in my instance, my daughter, Audrey, had passed on our wedding anniversary, but it wasn't till a week later that I actually, that I had her. So sometimes those dates can be a little different. So some people refer to it as the birthday, the angelversary. There's a bunch of different ways. So maybe there's some dates there that are important to you. And then if there aren't any special days, maybe just the day that you found out, that's a huge day that maybe you found out you were pregnant. Some of the joyful days, maybe you can kind of look through and then pinpoint those days and kind of set those days aside in the year to say, this is my special day and I'm going to do something special today. Or I'm going to just take the day off of work and I'm going to just go to the spa. I'm going to take a day for myself and kind of just like spend my time and my thoughts with my baby. So those are a couple ways that I kind of started the process, is just defining those specific and special dates. And then starting in my home where I felt safe to express that. My daughter, Audrey, was named after Audrey Hepburn. So anytime I see anything Audrey Hepburn or a quote from Audrey Hepburn, it was like, I have to buy this. I have to put this up. Not necessarily people would know that. They might know that that was the name of my daughter, but they might not put that together that that's who we named her after. So that kind of is fun for me to be able to see something and say, oh, I would love to have this and put it in my home. It could be different symbols, maybe butterflies or a certain flower or a sports team or something like that, that kind of reminds you of your baby. That might be something that you would go ahead and put something like that in your home. Something maybe if you named your baby, something with their name on it or their initial, maybe like symbols of angels, if that's specific and special to you. I've seen that a lot. That's so beautiful. And then outside your home, in your garden, I feel like if you have a space, and if you kind of live somewhere you don't have a yard, just maybe a potted plant that you could have in the house. I've done it with some of the girls that I've worked with. We've just like painted rocks and kind of put it in front of the flowers. Or I love planting rose bushes and then being able to cut the roses and bring them inside and bring them to her grave and things like that. So it's kind of like bringing my home there, having her around, all that. It kind of having a garden and tending to it and taking care of it and watching it grow is such a huge and I feel really powerful way to express your love. And then you might just have special traditions. On one of the calls, one of the women had said that when she was pregnant, before her loss, she craved, I think it was French fries. now it's blanking, but I think it was French fries. She just craved them all the time. So maybe if you think back, and I can't remember, but if you think back and there was something you really craved, maybe on those days that we kind of pinpoint, maybe that day is the day that you go out and you get French fries, right? Like your family goes out, you get French fries or milkshakes, whatever it is that kind of reminds you of your pregnancy in those early stages when you just started to have those cravings. So, or a special restaurant you went to celebrate some of those early things. So different traditions that you can maybe establish, and then they're kind of your go-to when you're just kind of like, I don't know what to do today. And okay, you know what? A special tradition is on the day of the month that they passed away, on that day, I'm going to go for a hike in the same spot every day on that day. And that's my tradition. And it's my one day I get to just kind of be by myself, be out with nature. And that is just a special type of tradition that you could establish. So then there could be places too with that. So if it's a hike, or if it's somewhere that you drive to like a lake, or a lot of people, and I feel like there's no way to not feel connected, but the ocean is just, you just feel connected, just standing on the beach, letting the ocean waves come up to your feet and just looking out at the horizon and watching a sunset, just beautiful times like that. Those types of places can be so sacred to connect with your loss. One of my favorite things kind of now that I've kind of established symbols and things that remind me of my two daughters is butterflies are a huge thing. Like I always see this one butterfly that just pretty much lives outside of our house, and she's there every day. And it just reminds me of my daughter. So now when I see butterfly jewelry or anything like that, that is kind of my go-to to try to like just be able to feel connected with her. And I can't buy her things anymore. I can't do any of that. So I'm going to buy myself things that remind me of her, to kind of bring her into my life and remind me of her every day. And then clothes. So I'm wearing my Audrey Hepburn shirt. So wearing clothes that remind you of your loss is another one. And again, nobody would necessarily know if you're a little bit more private about it, but it kind of just makes you feel good and proud. Or wearing like the share shirts that you got from maybe a walk or another fundraiser walk that you did, wearing that with maybe their name on the back. That's just such an awesome way to just kind of keep them in your daily life. And then just kind of, if there's special things that you've kept along the years or time, maybe you got a couple of ultrasounds, maybe you have a lot of ultrasound pictures, maybe you have pictures of them after they were born, if they lived for a couple days or longer. So you might want to think about how you want to kind of keep those special things archived. So if it's just kind of a little bit of maybe a few things that are special, maybe you could get like a box and maybe write something on it. If you did name your baby, you could put their name on it, special date on it, and then just kind of keep adding to that box. And on those special days, that's a great time to just open that box and kind of sit with them and look over the things that you had saved. And then maybe you want to, if you do have a lot of photos, maybe make some type of photo book that you can keep. And sometimes those are important to give to other family members that also would cherish that. And then a share, of course, the best way to honor we love is the walk. And that's a huge thing. Being able to, one, hear your baby's name, even if it's just baby and then the last name or a nickname you had come up with, whatever it is, just to have that 1 second of acknowledgement in front of all those people, and being able to light the candle and have that whole walk that whole day. I mean, even if that's what you're able to do at this point, that day it just means so much. And it's such a beautiful way to honor not just your babies, but everyone's babies. Some other cool things are just, which I hadn't thought about, but when you're doing fundraisers for anybody and it says like who it's from, you just usually just put your name because it seems the obvious thing to do. But I love now just putting my daughter's names on it. Like that this is in honor of them. And this donation is in honor of them. And we're doing this in the memory of them. So it's just something little, but it's like one other way to just kind of like feel like you're sharing something with them and you're doing something in their name. And then something beautiful that I saw one of the moms do is after her loss, her son, they had given him a first and middle name, and she ended up having twins after he had passed. And in the twins' middle name is both of their brothers' first and middle. So the one has his first name as her middle, and the other one has his middle name as her middle. So just beautiful ways to kind of incorporate your baby's name into, maybe if you have any other children, or maybe you get a pet, or maybe it's just your initial of their name. Something like that could be a really beautiful way to do that. And then the last one that I have still want to do and hope to do soon is I've seen people do just these beautiful illustrations. They have somebody kind of draw up a picture of what their family would look like if all of their children were there. And if you only have your loss and you don't have any, but you have pets, or you just want a family picture. Maybe it's just you and your partner and the loss that you shared, and you just want the three of you in a picture and you don't get that opportunity. Well, there's beautiful illustrators that can kind of create that for you. And just to be able to have that in your home is a huge deal, because you miss out on all those kind of things. So to somebody to create something so beautiful, that kind of, you know what, I want you to draw a picture of what it would look like with both my daughters at the age they would be today. So here's what I think they'd look like. I think their hair would be like this. And I think they'd probably love wearing this, and just kind of dream up that idea and then have somebody create it, and then to be able to put it in your home. And that would be just a beautiful gift to give to family. So those are kind of just some broad ideas that I've come up with and that I've seen and that people have shared with me and that have really impacted my life. And I have to just express more and more, the more you honor them, the more connected, the more healed. And I don't know, I feel like even if it's just one thing that you do and it's super private and nobody knows about it, just having that one thing is huge. So the more you're able to do and incorporate them in your life, it's so meaningful. And I think it definitely heals.